right. So good afternoon, everyone. Hello and welcome to our first of our Coffee with Career Coaches session. We're really, really excited to be doing this. And I have to, before we even get started, just have a huge thank you to all of our wonderful Terp alumni who are here from our Coaches Corner program. My name's Antoine Jordan. I work for the Alumni Association and help do a lot of our career engagement, career programming kind of stuff, Terrapins Connect, all those sorts of things, mentorship programs. But am excited to be bringing this session to you guys as part of Professional Development Month. So as you're coming in, we've got some more folks coming into the waiting room right now. Feel free to drop your name, your graduation year in the chat, where you're joining us from today. For those of y'all who are in the DMV area or right around College Park, I know I can probably speak for all of us that we are thankful that it is above freezing today, or has been for the last couple days. Thank goodness. So happy and fingers crossed. I know this is like the probably spring of deception or false spring. So I know spring isn't here yet. I'm sure there's something still waiting for us around the corner. But I'm happy that the weather is good today and hope the weather where you guys are joining from is good too. If you're joining the session just now or just coming into the room, again, thank you all so much for joining us. The heads up for this is going to be an interactive session. There's going to be a period where we'll go through a moderated conversation with the coaches at first, talk a little bit more about what coaching is and what the benefits are for you to go through the coaching process. And then we'll go into some breakout rooms where you'll actually have the opportunity to ask the coaches some more concentrated questions about, what coaching is. They can share some of their in expertise and insights with you about what coaching is like. So again, if you want to come off camera, feel free to join us off camera. We're happy to see some big smiling faces and happy to see you joining us. But if not, if you're in the car, if you're at work, if you're eating lunch, if you're grabbing a cup of coffee, whatever works for you is fine. But we're really happy to have you here with us today. I'm going to go ahead and get us rolling so that way we can get the program moving along because I think there's some good content that I just want to get to. Have some really great questions for our coaches who are here with us. So just to give you guys a quick overview, we'll do some introductions. I'll allow our coaches to introduce themselves, tell you a little bit more about their history as Terp alums and what coaching has been like for them, the type of coaching that they do. We'll go into those small group networks with the coaches, pair you guys up to meet with a coach in a breakout room and have some quick conversations. We'll do some reflections and takeaways, some things that you can walk away from today's session with, and then we'll wrap things up from there so that way we can get you guys out the door and on to the rest of your day by 1 o'clock. So to start with, let's just sort of go around coaches. I'll I'll pick, I'll ask each of you to introduce yourself. So I'm gonna go who I can see off my screen first. And Laura, that's gonna be you. If you can just introduce yourself, a little bit about your UMD background, graduation year, major, that kind of stuff. And your professional and coaching background. Just tell us a little bit more about what that looks like. So Laura, I'll have you go first.
Happy to. Thank you so much, Antoine. Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Malinowski. I was in the class of 94 from the Robert H. Smith School of Business. I majored in business administration, and I had I don't know if they even still have this, a liberal arts and business certificate was available at the time. And I did that heavy on theater and film. And I grew up in Olney, Maryland. And over my career, I spent many years leading operations and change initiatives in a fast-growing business. And I now coach executives and teams, mostly in tech and healthcare and finance. I got into coaching because I kept seeing talented leaders who businesses were relying on just get trapped in the daily grind and get burned out. And I love being in their corner. I love being part strategist, part cheerleader, sometimes part BS detector gently, and helping cut through the noise to what matters most. You were in the inaugural. Hello, Karen. Okay, great. Good to see that. I could go on, but I'm going to pass the mic to whoever's next.
Thank you, Laura. Chad, you're on my right, so I'll let you go next.
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. Chad Ellsworth, he, him pronouns. Maryland alum for my master's degree in 2004. Grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska. I am back in the Midwest. I moved to Minnesota in 2004. Fun fact, I think it's 4 degrees warmer here than it is in Maryland right now. Quick version of my background. I was a Latin American studies major for undergraduate, did my master's in counseling and personnel services, took a job at the University of Minnesota where I worked in student activities and then the College of Biological Sciences as an advisor and pre-health career coach. Went to the Carlson School of Management, the business school at the University of Minnesota, where I was a career coach there, worked in the Center for Academic Planning Exploration, which serves highly undecided students. And I forgot to mention, I worked in publishing before I started my master's in Maryland. Since 2019, I've been at Carleton College, which is in Northfield, Minnesota, a small, highly selective liberal arts college. And I serve as the associate director for our career coaching team here. And I am also our pre law advisor. So hopefully, through all that, you heard I've touched just about every career industry in my background. And of course, I do career coaching full time. But I also have my business coaching business, Cape Coaching, where I do a lot of one-to-one coaching and also do some workshops for nonprofits and for-profit entities on strengths and leadership and things like that. So yeah, it's a little bit about my background.
Awesome. Thanks, Chad. And if you can send that extra 4 degrees of warmth south, we'll take it. Joy, if I could have you go next.
Family Studies degree. And so my professional background spans from 28 years of federal human resource development in leadership and organizational effectiveness. And so I started as an HR intern actually while I was on the College of College Park. And that's what birthed my calling, I would say, and landed my dream job as an HR director in the federal government. I still serve as that role, but I became a coach because I have lived this journey called life and understanding the power of having someone see the potential in you and opening doors that would change your life. And so I birthed a business called 3E Consulting, where I educate, equip, and empower individuals to navigate their careers, their leadership journey, and make impact. And so with me, I do a lot of career coaching because, again, I have 28 years in the federal government. I have grown up in the federal government. And so at a time where, human resource and jobs and navigating not only careers, but your life, understanding the power of a coach, having somebody help you navigate life and being able to tap into your gifts and talents is my superpower. And so it is a pleasure to be with you. Again, it's not about developing careers. I develop confidence and capable leaders to be prepared and positioned for what's next. So I look forward to joining you today.
Awesome. Thank you, Joy. Jessica, if we could have you next, please.
Oh, I love that I get to follow that beautiful introduction by Joy. That was so well said. My name is Jessica Portney Amini. I am class of '08 from College Park. I graduated with a dual degree from the College of Arts and Humanities, a degree in Italian language and literature and communication. And I have been passionate about discovering people and cultures since before I can even remember. And so I pursued a career in international development, international relations, and through that discovered leadership development and the work that we can intentionally do to better understand ourselves so that we can be better leaders, not only for our organizations, but for the world. I've been lucky enough to have an awesome career where I've been supporting folks in federal government, both within the US and abroad, and folks in corporate. I'm specifically drawn to supporting women leaders, helping women build their confidence, recognize what it is that they want in their lives, and figuring out that path. I love getting to support UMD alum. It's a really special network to be part of. Love being part of this awesome group of coaches. And Antoine, thank you so much for bringing us here today. Really happy to be with you all and spend some time together. I know this is a challenging time in the job market, and coaching is really a leg up in being able to navigate this. And so kudos to you all for saying yes to coming here to this coffee conversation and hoping to be of service.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. Lauren.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into this amazing group of people. I'm Lauren Lefkowitz. I graduated in '98 with a psychology degree with a concentration in human development. And then I worked in corporate HR for 20 years, racking up raises and promotions in a couple of different companies and also 100-hour weeks. On this side, I was coaching, and several years ago, I had a freak accident where I broke both of my shoulders, and my friends joked, "Look who can't be a hand raiser anymore." That was a big lesson for me. And what I realized I actually wanted was to be a good boundary setter, the way that I taught my clients to boundary set, to emerge from burnout, the way I helped my clients emerge from burnout. And now I do a little bit of HR consulting, but the bulk of what I do is executive coaching for corporate people who are waking up every day sighing, saying, "It's fine. This is what I do. This is what I chose." And I work typically with directors and above, for profit, nonprofit, government contractors. I've been across almost every industry, and I help people emerge from burnout, build better boundaries, and figure out what they actually want to get out of their careers so that they stop saying it's fine when it's not really fine.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren. I'm going to come back to that burnout piece because I know that's something that we all experience. So I would love to have you expound on that a little bit more later. Ben, if you can share a little bit about yourself, please.
Sure, thanks, Antoine. Hey, everyone. My name is Ben Tarragon, class of 2019. I majored in finance and minored in technology entrepreneurship. I live in New York City now. After graduating from Maryland, I spent 6 years in consulting at Big Four, and just recently started a new job as a financial advisor and life insurance as well. But I've always been very passionate about personal finance and financial literacy, going back to when I was in business school in Maryland. I had this realization all of our classes were on corporate finance and international finance, but I feel like there was missing something on the personal finance piece. I'm like, I want to be able to help out in this space and bridge that gap. So became a personal finance coach, and I really just love working with people on understanding the why behind their money. We work to make money, but why are we doing that? What do we need our money to do for us? I find money is so much deeper than just a math problem. There's so much emotion behind it. It's really based on our values. I help our clients with budgeting and aligning their spending to their goals and their values in life. So I really enjoy just diving deeper into the why, like I mentioned, with my clients. Love building those relationships and seeing the progress that my clients are able to make, even over a couple, short period over a few months. So excited to be here today, and great to hear from everyone else.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. And money is what makes all of our lives go around and drives us in making our decisions. So I'm really glad to have you here to give some perspective on that side of the shop and making these decisions as well. And Allison, thank you so much. Last but not least.
Yeah, thank you, Antoine, for doing this. And it's so nice to hear from all these other wonderful helpers. My name is Allison Cardy, and I am class of '06. I graduated with a degree in accounting. And I picked that degree, or more, my parents picked that degree for me because my mom was a teacher and transitioned into accounting. And for her, it was a wonderful fit. And for me, I don't really like details or arbitrary rules. So it was like not a good fit for me. And my specialty is helping people to make career changes. So I changed from accounting to being a coach in 2009. And I've been coaching for over 16 years at this point. And if you are feeling stuck or lost, or like, I don't like what I'm doing, but I'm not sure what would be a better fit or how to figure that out, that is what I specialize in. And I help people to move towards career paths that are more aligned with who they are and what they're wanting to do in life.
Awesome. Thank you, Allison. And so I'm going to get us started with the conversation here, which I've got a boatload of questions that we could probably spend ages talking together on, but I know we're together for a short period of time today. So I want to make our time and the rest of our Terps, who are here on the call with us, their time worthwhile too. So we've talked a little bit about, why alums seek out coaching, if it's that career transition, if it's building confidence, if it's dealing with burnout. And we can go into that a little bit more as we go along, and especially once we go into the breakout rooms. But I want to dive a little bit deeper into what the actual coaching relationship looks like. What is that experience like? I know each of you individually have your own styles of coaching and how you work with the folks that you are doing the coaching with, but if a couple of one of you just want to share, a little bit more about what that relationship looks like and how coaching works. Jessica, please go ahead.
Antoine, it's such a great question and such a great question to start out with because coaching is a relationship. And you'll see that so many of us have what's called a discovery call or a chemistry call, some type of introductory call to meet with a coach to feel if there is that sense of alignment with the person's style, personality, how they approach coaching to see if it's the right fit for you. So I would just make sure that anyone who's exploring coaching that you know that there's not a one size fits all. It's about who is the right person for you. And so a coaching relationship is extremely empowering. Oftentimes, and I know you're going to hopefully be sharing a little bit more detail with a question about this later. People are telling us what to do, whether that be mentors or mental health practitioners. Coaching so much is about finding the answer inside yourself. And as coaches, it's really our role to help be that sidekick in the passenger seat who holds the roadmap for you, helps figure out where you're going, but you're really the one driving what that looks like on a regular basis. In sessions and in between sessions. And I hear from so many of my clients that it's the process of coaching, in addition to achieving what they want to achieve, that builds their confidence, that makes them feel empowered, because it's really them finally getting an opportunity to be the leaders of their own lives, the leaders of their own journeys. And I think effective coaches don't tell you what to do. They partner with you. They brainstorm with you. They serve as that sounding board and ask those powerful questions that help you find the answers for yourself. And that's what I would say makes a really impactful coach and what a coaching relationship looks like, which often takes people by surprise because they think that they're going to come to a coach who's just going to tell them what to do. But really good coaching is about partnering with you to figure out what that looks like.
Yes, and I love that analogy of, you are still in the driver's seat. You, the person receiving the coaching, you're still driving the car. You're still flying the plane. It's your journey and your experience, but it's wonderful to know that there is somebody next to you that's got that roadmap that's going to help you find the directions, that's going to help you build your Spotify playlist to help curate what songs you're listening to as you navigate that journey of whatever coaching is for you. Chad and then Allison, please.
I raised my hand really early after Jessica was talking, and Jessica did such a wonderful job being the perfect brochure of what coaching is. I think the one thing that I would add in terms of the beauty of coaching is also the accountability piece. This is somebody that, as Jessica talked about, is really partnering, is that sidekick, in the car with you. But ultimately, it's about helping you get where you want to go. And the coach is that external voice that not only helps expand your thinking. I use the analogy a lot of coaching to the gap, where you want to go versus where you're now. And how do you kind of navigate that gap? How do you move and make progress along that? What is each step along the way? But ultimately, that also involves accountability, and so every time that we're meeting, it's, about checking in. Okay, we talked about this as your next step, as your next goal. How is that going? Do we need to course correct? Do we need to maybe find a different path? So I think that it's that partnership and it's that accountability that really sets coaching apart. And that's part of the reason I love it. I mean, I know I have a background in counseling, but I really came to coaching because I love how future oriented it is and how really partnership based it is. So, Jessica, beautiful job. I wish I would have recorded what you said because I could use that over and over again.
Good news is, Chad, we're recording the session, so we will have that for eternity. Allison, please.
Similarly, really appreciate what's been shared. I can speak for my own process of helping people through career changes. And a couple of things that I can note for that are one, many of my clients have never had anybody like sit with them and go through the entirety of their education and career history to help them make sense of the different experiences that they've had and also their particular skills and interests and what lights them up. A lot of what I do is reflect back to people like, you were smiling so big when you talked about whatever experience. Some of my clients call me a career therapist. I'm not a therapist at all, but I do think that sense-making piece can be really important of what you've been through, what it means for where you want to go next. Another thing that I see particularly in my work is that having somebody who's an objective professional third party can be so clutch for people. A lot of times when you don't like what you're doing at work, you might be talking to friends or family who has opinions about what they like or what they think that you should do, or the experience that they've had of like, here's how you navigate the world, similar to what I had with my parents. My parents thought they had solved career and accounting was just the answer. So having somebody who's objective, who can really take in who you are without any charge. I often tell my clients, I care about you, but I don't care what you do. Like I don't have a dog in the fight or any agenda for what you're doing. And then the last piece, which I think Chad spoke to as well, is that accountability. So when you're thinking about making a career change, there's nobody else that is as motivated to do it than you, and there's nobody who's really holding you accountable. It's such a personal thing that you're working on. So to have a coach and a process and a structure that you're working through to make progress on that can be hugely helpful to actually move something that might be kind of on the back burner to the front and make progress. And I said the last thing, but one other thing I'll mention is coaching can also be skill building. So it's helping you through those difficult pieces of learning new skills, things that you might not want to do, but are good for you. I'm sure all the career coaches here will give a nod to networking is the thing. Nobody wants it to be the thing, but it is the thing. So to have a coach who helps you do those difficult things that you might not want to do or have anxiety about can be really helpful as well.
And that's a really great, I really, I appreciate the thought behind acknowledging that it's difficult, that there might be really hard things that you are going through or that you'll experience as somebody participating in an experience with a coach. So I'm going to punt this next question to, Laura and Joy and Lauren, and Ben, you can chime in here too. What does a breakthrough look like for somebody when they're going through the coaching experience, especially if it's career transitions? Laura and Lauren, you both can talk about, that executive level sort of breakthrough for somebody who's in a higher leadership position and they have that magic breakthrough moment. Or Ben, if it's a financial sort of breakthrough, what does a breakthrough moment look like for somebody? Is it a mindset shift? Is it a more clarified decision-making process? Is it increased confidence? I'm sure it's all of those things, but if you want to share a little about what that looks like to you and what you've experienced, that would be awesome. Lauren, I saw your hand first. Go ahead.
I got really excited about the question.
Yeah.
Before a breakthrough happens, you have to go through the things that are wrong. And so that's hard. We try to avoid that as humans. We are born and trained to be doers and figure out what the end goal is and back into it or build goals forward. When you really stop and pause and explore, you get the opportunity to work through something instead of trying to work around the thing. So there is a part where it's really hard. And with my clients, we usually start with what's wrong instead of going to where do you want to be? Because sometimes we don't know where we want to be unless we find out what's wrong first. So we start with what's wrong, then we start digging into those things that aren't working so that we can figure out what do you want? How do you want things to be? So there's some hardship in there that is totally worthwhile. I cannot tell you the number of times that I thought being coached, I would never have a breakthrough. But what happens is once you start really talking about this stuff and getting willing to look inside beyond the doing to how you are being as a human, then you get to decide and see what's on the other side. And when you have that breakthrough, very often it's these tiny little breakthroughs. Oh, I can take 15 minutes in the morning to read a book. Oh, I am allowed to leave on time. Oh, I am allowed to go to my kids' recital, whatever it is. And when you see those things, those little things start to pile up, you suddenly realize you have freedom and choices. And joy from just being in the world in a different way.
Awesome. Ben, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a few things that come to mind. And Lauren, when you were sharing that, the intentionality piece really came to mind. It's something I work on a lot with my clients is there's, at the end of the day, we work hard to make money to spend and to spend on things that are important to us. But I feel like there's so many terms and terminologies within the finance world that are just scary to people. You know, that's logging into your bank account to see what your student loans are. Like that's scary. That's intimidating to a lot of people. But a lot of times we're told, oh, like you can't spend on this, you can't spend on that. But a big breakthrough that I walk my clients through is having that intentionality. Like you can spend on this. If this is important to you, then I want you to spend on that. And like let's make a plan so that you feel the power and you feel empowered to make those purchases and make those decisions with confidence. And of course, there are going to be some times in life where we all slip up. We buy something. We're like, actually, I didn't need that. Everyone here probably had at least one impulse purchase in the past few months. But when you spend with intentionality, then you start to realize, oh, my money's working for me. And then tying it into the budget, I think budget is one of those terms people hear budget and they get scared. And they're like, ooh, no, like, that's not for me. I don't want a budget. I don't need a budget. But I always like to work with my clients. And like a budget is, there's two ways to look at it. You can look at it as, oh, let's look back at the end of the month. What did I spend on this month? And where did my money go? Or what I like to do is if you build a budget before the month starts, you really are enabling yourself to be in control of your money and say, like, this is what's coming up for me this month. I know I want to save for a trip in the summer. I know this is what's happening to me later. It's like if you build that into your budget, then you're really allowing your money to work for you, and then you're taking back control. You're being in the driver's seat. And one last thing, going back to what I mentioned at the beginning, like with student loans, so many, like I said, so many terms are so overwhelming to us, but just walking people through and like some of the other coaches saying, just like taking a minute to pause like what's overwhelming you about this? And most of the time it's just taking that first step. It's like, okay, like let's log into your portal together. Let's see what those numbers are. Let me explain some of the terms for you. And then they're like, oh yeah, like I can do this. Like I was avoiding logging into my portal for 3 years, but now we did it together. Like the hardest part is done. And I think as I'm sure so many other coaches see, whether it's career coaching or whatever it is, like getting started is the hardest piece. So if we're able to walk them through that and really just, be intentional about everything, I find those to be super empowering.
100%. Absolutely. Sometimes it's that first step. That's the breakthrough in and of itself. So thanks, Ben. Joy, go ahead, please.
And so this is a great question. I think for me with the relationship, because like we talked about, it is a relationship with your client. It's the discovery and going through this process. And for me, my process starts with, definitely with careers and, we ask questions and the power of the questioning with what brings you great joy? What energizes you? What did you want to be when you grow up? And so we go through this process of this discovery because we go to school, we get a major, we graduate, we go to a job, and then it's like, oh, I'm going to do this every single day for like 30, 40 years. Oh my gosh, they didn't tell us this in school. And it's like, but what if you are walking in, I call it your superpowers. You know your gifts, you know your talents, and you're being able to align that to an occupation and your job. It is never a day of work. It is a day of purpose. And so it's understanding who you are, because remember, that's in you. And it's working with the coach and going through the process of the discovery. So I love when coach say, I don't even know what I want to do. Okay, let's go. I'm excited. Because we can go through this reset, revise, we can reset some goals, we can navigate a different plan of action based upon what do you want to do and create new vision. And so I'm big on visions. And so we go through this process. And so, and the aha moments is that self-discovery, that awareness. Oh my gosh, I have these skill sets. I understand how they are now transferable. Yes, they are. Because the same analytical skills you have in one industry, guess what? We're going to transfer them to another industry. And so it's understanding that process, but it's tapping into who they are. And sometimes they need that coach to help them navigate to discover all that's in them so they can reach their highest potential.
I, Joy, if we could like repeat that and put that on billboards, I 1,000% would, because it really is about sometimes you do not know. You've got so much going on in your world. You've got a life, you've got a family, you've got your career, and it's hard to even envision who or what you want to be or what you want it to be. So having a coach can really help pull some of those threads out for you. Laura, please. I know you've had your hand raised too.
They go off mute. Hello, thank you. And By the way, I love getting to hear what other coaches are up to. We really do all have different approaches and personalities and things that we draw from and things that we focus on. And someone earlier, I think Allison said it's important to find the person that just fits right with you because the relationship is about trust. And I feel like you're getting a good sense of all, at least several different approaches here. And I think that's pretty cool. And speaking of a different approach, Lauren, I think, had mentioned, hi, Lauren, by the way, nice to see you again. Lauren had started about one way that she approaches it often is to start with what's wrong. So here's a little taste of how different coaches can have different ways of going about things. I actually start with what's right. I tend to start with what's really working, what's already happening that you're loving, that you're feeling good about, where your strengths are, and that gives some perspective. Because in my experience, often we tend to focus on what's wrong. Like neurologically, we're wired to be hyper aware of, is that a bear coming at me? Is that a bus coming at me? Like, and so we tend to be very in it about that, and then we forget the whole picture and the good things there. So I actually like to start with the whole picture and sort of what I call stepping back on a balcony and being like, what's really going on here? And then when we're getting to the point where it's like, well, what is wrong? What's the part where you're stuck or feeling like you keep getting trapped on it, essentially stuck on it? Then it's a good opportunity to look at, well, what are your assumptions and what are your beliefs about that? And where is that serving you? And where is that maybe not serving you so well anymore? Maybe it did before, but the world has evolved and you've changed. And so it's kind of looking at that kind of higher level view of what's going on. And so the question, I believe, Antoine, was about what does a breakthrough look like? It can look like a lot of different things. Sometimes in my work, actually, a call I had just last night was very much about someone who was setting some micro boundaries and in a time when she was dealing with a whole lot of reorgs and some layoffs that were very unfortunate. And setting some micro boundaries help her get some better sleep and have some better focus. Another breakthrough might be around feeling like you have to fix everything, you have to do everything, you're responsible for everything, to, oh, what's in my lane? What's not in my lane? Where do I need to actually, instead of trying to get everything done, how do I build my delegation muscles? How do I learn how to take feedback better? How do I learn how to give feedback better so that everybody is holding their weight? How do I have difficult conversations? Like there's a breakthrough can come in a lot of different directions. And sometimes it's pretty surprising because sometimes you show up like, here's the thing I got to fix. What would fixing that actually get you? And sometimes that brings in some other parameters that are valuable to play with. So that was my answer. And thank you to everybody.
Yeah, and I, Laura, I really this it's a I love this conversation so much. If you can't tell, I'm really excited about it. But the piece that you mentioned, really about breakthroughs looking different and can be so many, they can be so many different things, really hones back to that key point of why people come to coaching in the first place. There's not one ubiquitous reason or a certain set of parameters that you have to align with in order to come to coaching in the first place. It can be a variety of different things that are leading you to then hope you find that person who can sit in the passenger seat with you for a little while. It does not have to be a certain set of things. It doesn't have to be a certain series of events that happen that bring you here. It can be a lot of different things. So I want you guys to keep that in mind as we shift to our next portion of the program today. So again, for those of you who have joined us a little bit later in the program, there is going to be an interactive portion, which we're going to jump into here in a second. I'm going to Fingers crossed now, y'all. This is the part that Antoine does not like. Breakout rooms in Zoom terrify me into oblivion, but I'm going to try my best to make
Got this,
sure I.
Antoine. You
Got
got
this,
Thank you,
this. You got
Antoine.
it.
Jessica.
Come on.
I'm going to get you guys broken out into breakout rooms with each of our coaches. So you, our fellow Terps who are here joining us today, have the chance. You can stay on camera, you can stay off camera, just to ask some questions. And it doesn't have to be about anything that you're going through individually, but it's more about a space for you all to learn more about coaching and more for the coaches to share with you about what the coaching process looks like. So I'm going to get us broken out into breakout rooms, but for the coaches, as we go into these rooms, the question that I want you guys to sort of start the conversation off with is what makes alumni coaching unique? What makes the experience of working with fellow Terps a unique part of the coaching process? So I'm going to